Former Virginia Tech starting quarterback Kieran Riddle entered the transfer portal this offseason, signing with the University of Alabama. Today, the two sides meet again as we head to Tuscaloosa to face off against the 5th-ranked Crimson Tide. And then following that, a night game in Blacksburg, Virginia, with over 60,000 people yelling, "Enter Sandman," as we face off against one of Clyde Pool's former rivals, the University of Missouri. Two SEC teams we're playing against today. This is going to be a big measuring stick for us to see where we really match up compared to the rest of the country, and I am excited to see how this team responds to the challenge. The Hokies are currently 1-0, coming off a 36-20 win in the last episode against James Madison. Star wide receiver Dorian Sahara only caught the ball twice, while Clyde Pool had an impressive debut, scoring 4 all-purpose touchdowns. He was really able to spread the wealth around, and then the defense was super impressive. We sent a lot of pressure, and junior cornerback Elihu Gold made an incredible first impression with an early interception while shutting down the potential first-rounder in Sahara. I appreciate all the feedback and the support from the last episode. It seems like you guys really liked those little cameos I did, where we did a little introduction about certain players as the game went along. I got a suggestion that we do that for some of the guys on the opposing team, which I think is a really good idea, given that we're going to see a lot of players from Alabama and probably Missouri as well in the NFL. And if you want to make an input on who we choose for the Madden 26 franchise, then I recommend you check out the video I uploaded last night discussing some possibilities. Anyway, let's take a look at number 5 Alabama, who took care of business against Utah State to start the year. They had a bye week last week, which doesn't really help us. I think the one thing we really have going for us going into this game is that they're playing against Miami next week. They could be really focusing on that matchup, and this could be a trap game for them. As I mentioned earlier, the big storyline will be Kieran Riddle, who's been our starting quarterback over the last 3 years, transferring to Alabama, where he won the job as the starter for the Crimson Tide. Riddle was not that highly regarded coming out of high school, a 3-star who won the starting job for us as a true freshman. Had a lot of ups and downs early, but had a really good season last year as a junior, only throwing 2 interceptions. Now, as we look at some of the issues with him, along with inconsistent accuracy, it's also been his ability, or lack thereof, to stay on the field. However, he was healthy to start the year for Alabama, and he looked really good. With his departure, of course, we replaced him with Clyde Pool. He's got an incredible group of weapons to get the ball to here with the Crimson Tide, with multiple future NFL stars in terms of his skill guys. At running back, Jamarian Suggs, really solid sophomore, and then the true freshman, Jalen Gandy, who's already an 85 overall. Moses Lexington, Trey Lawson, and Amir Anthony is as good of a wide receiver trio as you'll find in college football. Lexington and Lawson both could be high picks this year, and possibly Anthony as well. And then Dallas Addington at tight end. He's going to be an NFL pick as well. If I were to pick out a weakness for Alabama, I think it's the secondary. They are not overly talented in the DB room, and I think that's where we can exploit them. As I've mentioned with Clyde Pool, we want to change his play style a little bit. Less erratic as a scrambler in the pocket, and someone who can stretch the field a little more vertically. So, someone pointed out in the last episode that I did not have wear and tear on, which is a good catch. I'm making sure it's on today. Injuries were already on, but no one got hurt in our game against James Madison, and I wondered why that was. Now I have my answer. So now we might actually see some guys get hurt. I don't think there's going to be a single player on the field today with a bigger chip on their shoulder than Clyde Pool. Aside from the new rivalry with Kieran Riddle, this Alabama team is a big piece of Clyde's journey. Let's go back to his final game as a junior with Kansas in the national semifinals. On this play, he strained his UCL in his elbow. Later in the game, he ended up tearing the muscle, throwing an interception here to Jalen Mbakwe. This ended up being the final play of Clyde Pool's Kansas career. The injury caused him to miss his entire senior season, where the Jayhawks ended up winning the national championship without him. This was Clyde Pool's last game at Kansas. The last team he beat while with Kansas, ironically, was Virginia Tech. It's not all that relevant to the story, but I find it a little bit funny. He did the anti-Kevin Durant, if you beat us, you can join us. As we look at some keys to the game, Virginia Tech's got to be able to establish something on the ground. Outside of Clyde, we didn't run it very well against JMU, and if we can't run it against them, how are we supposed to against Alabama? We've got to hang in there in the trenches. Riddle scrambles on third down to the left side, runs for the first, and slides at the 35 for a gain of 12. Riddle is the ideal NFL athlete. 6'4", rocket arm, really athletic. There's a reason why he's a projected 3rd to 4th round pick right now, as he scrambles again on third down, but is stopped by the redshirt senior and his longtime former teammate, Xavier Haynes. It's a 49-yard field goal try for the redshirt senior, Darren Woods, looking to put Alabama on the board first. His kick from the right hash is up, and it will squeak through. So the Crimson Tide strike first. Their opening drive results in a field goal as we take our first look at the Virginia Tech offense. Got to get the ground game going. Mark Armstrong and the other backs were not very effective against JMU. And again, if we can't run it against their front seven, well, it's a different beast playing against Alabama and guys who are probably going to be in the NFL. 3rd down and 8. Pool looks to throw it. Backs up in the pocket, and it is hauled in for a first down. Trevor Adams, the slot receiver who scored last week, makes the reception. Following play for Virginia Tech, it's a read option, and Pool is thrown down for a big loss. Great play there by the Alabama defense. The tackle on the play made by Chester Lawrence. On 3rd down, Pool scrambles, looking deep, and it is short for Jontre Hickson. So the first Virginia Tech drive of the game results in a punt, as the number 5 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, heavy favorites in this game by over 2 touchdowns, get it back. That one deflected on 3rd down by Jensen Diglio, the redshirt senior. And Virginia Tech gets it back once again. Armstrong to the outside, loses a lot. Connor Johnson, one of the talented linebackers on this team, a true junior from the state of Maryland, brings him down. High pass on 3rd down is caught by Nazir Ishmael, who is short of the yard to gain. Moses Lexington in motion. He gets it here with a nice play up the field, wrapped up near the 40. Certainly an aim to keep your eye on for this upcoming NFL draft season. At 6'2", 210 pounds, Lexington is one of the fastest receivers in the country, but he can also really go up and get it. Had a phenomenal freshman year at Temple, but the production hasn't matched that over the last couple of years. As a junior, he only played 4 games. Entered the transfer portal, Alabama saw the talent with him, decided to take a chance, and coming off a phenomenal performance in week 1, it seems like they're pretty vindicated. Lexington's also a local guy for us from the state of Maryland, as Riddle goes up the middle for Amir Anthony, playing the slot for this Alabama team. We'll dive a little deeper into his game later. Anthony in motion as Riddle is pushed down to the ground by Quincy Akindele, the redshirt junior. No time whatsoever. The offensive line completely collapses, and Akindele makes the play. A former 4-star recruit, Akindele has not quite developed as quickly as we would have hoped. However, as a redshirt junior, I certainly see a role for him as a rotational pass rusher. Had 4 sacks a year ago as a sophomore, had half a sack in the win against JMU, and he makes the play there in the backfield. Now looking at a 3rd and 15 towards the end of quarter number 1 with under a minute to go. Riddle looks to throw it, looking towards the sideline, it's hauled in. Dallas Addington inside the 20. Elihu Gold plays for the ball. He should have just played the receiver to make sure we got the stop, and his aggressiveness there ultimately backfires. Into the red zone, Jamarian Suggs with a spin move inside the 5, where he's wrapped up by sophomore safety Justice Watkins, and that should wrap up the first quarter. I don't think Alabama's going to get another playoff. It's a low-scoring game right now, only 3-0, but they are marching very close to the end zone inside the 5-yard line with an opportunity to potentially add to the lead here in the early going into the second quarter. 6.7 yards of play for the Tide, just 2.1 for Virginia Tech. -9 rushing yards. That is not good enough. 1st and goal to kick off the second quarter. It's gotten a lot darker here in Tuscaloosa as the true freshman, Jalen Gandy, is in for a touchdown, and Alabama adds to the lead as it is now a 10-0 ball game. This is a young man that Alabama's coaching staff is really excited about. A 4-star freshman who appears to have been underranked. He's an 85 overall, one of the highest rated players in the class, with his skill caps basically all the way up. The sky really is the limit for this kid. I think he's going to be mostly a rotational back behind Suggs this year, but I think he's the most talented player in the running back room and a guy who in a couple of years from now I think could be one of the best players at the position in college football. Virginia Tech back with it. A screen for Ashwell Virgo. The redshirt freshman tries to run in front of his blocker as he gets near the 40 for a first down. We can't try to do too much. There's still 30 minutes left in the game, even though we're not playing well so far. We've got to continue to play our brand of football as it's play action. Pool on the run with a strike. What a catch! John Trey Hickson over the defender. The senior hauls it in for a Hokie first down. A really nice grab by Hickson, who seems to be the guy that Clyde Pool is most comfortable to throwing the ball. Up the middle, Mark Armstrong nearing the 20. We did not get any of that a week ago, so it's good to see a positive run for the junior back. Pool steps up in the pocket with a nice juke move, and he gets it inside the 10-yard line. That'll make it first and goal. Clyde has not ran it much today. Good to see a nice scramble there. Second and goal. Pool connects. Hickson, touchdown! Virginia Tech within 3. A much-needed response for senior wide receiver John Trey Hickson, one of our team captains, his first score of the year. The story for Hickson is a really interesting one. Coming from Baltimore, Maryland, him and Kieran Riddle have been football teammates since the two of them were 5 years old. That carried into high school, where they formed one of the most dominant connections in the state. They committed to play at Virginia Tech together and have started here over the last 3 years. Riddle blindsided Hickson with his decision to enter the portal. Hickson could have easily followed his close friend to just about any school the two of them could have wanted, but Hickson decided to stay here. And I think that speaks a lot to his character, and that's something that NFL teams are going to really like. He's not the biggest, he's not the fastest, but he's a real leader, and he's a damn good receiver. Alabama gets it back, 10-7 ball game. Riddle looks to throw it. He's got Dallas Addington, who loses the ball. He does pick it up, though. Darius Penny with a big hit on the ball carrier. Now, the booth is going to review whether or not that was a fumble. I don't really know what the purpose of the review is because he picked it up anyway. But as you can tell, his elbow is clearly down before the ball comes out, so this play will be reversed. Not that it really changes a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, other than hurting Darius Penny's stats. 3rd and 6. Riddle rolls out to the right, has a wide-open receiver. That's Addington, who he overthrows. Alabama's going to have to punt it away, and Virginia Tech gets it back, sitting at around 4.5 minutes left in the first half. 3rd and 2. Pool steps up, and he is sacked. Earl Jones brings him down, and the Hokies are going to have to punt it away. Both defenses have been overall quite impressive in this game as Alabama gets it back on 2nd down. Jamarian Suggs losing yardage. It's Noah Singleton, the captain of the defense, who brings him down. He had 8 tackles in the win last week against James Madison. 3rd and 7, 2:20 to go in the half. Trey Lawson in motion as Riddle is wrapped up quickly. It's a keen delay once again. Lawson and Suggs ran into each other. That completely messed the play up for Alabama as they have to punt it away. Minute 40 left to go. Pool scrambles. Pool looking down the field for Nazir Ishmael! Inside the 10, what a throw! That will not count because this one is coming back. That's one of the best throws I've ever seen from Clyde Pool, and it's not going to matter. The true freshman, Kingston Carter, called for a hold. 2nd and 16. Pool on the run. He's got John Trey Hickson weaving his way through defenders, and he gets the first down to the 40. Busy start for Hickson. 3 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown. Virginia Tech goes no huddle. Pool going to test his luck again. 1-on-1. Ishmael climbs the ladder to the 15. Come on, you have got to be kidding me. This one is coming back again. Holding. This time on the right tackle, Dante Diamont. The 2 best throws Clyde Pool has made at Virginia Tech, and neither of them are going to count. 1st and 20. Adams comes down with it. And again, that'll make up all the yardage from the penalty and then some. Virginia Tech will get a first down the following play, and then we had another holding, making it 1st and 20. Pool wrapped up in the backfield for a sack. LeBrandon Berry leads the way as it's 3rd down and 29. Pool looking deep for Ishmael again, and 3rd time is not the charm as it's incomplete. The football gods really did not want us to score there. Multiple 50-plus yard passes taken off by penalties. 22 seconds left for Alabama with a chance to score before the end of the half, as that one is hauled in by Amir Anthony nearing the 40. Anthony's the 3rd wheel at this receiving room, but he's a very talented player in his own right. 6'2", 210 pounds, extremely well-rounded. I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick or anything, but I think you're looking at a guy who can be a contributor in the NFL for a while. Over 900 yards a year ago, his first season as a starter, and had a great performance in the opener against Utah State. 2nd and 7 with just seconds left. Short pass is caught by Trey Lawson, who gets it to around the 30, wrapped up by Elihu Gold. That'll give Alabama enough time to call the timeout and bring the field goal unit out. Darren Woods now from 47. He made one from the right hash from 49 yards earlier as Coach Teemer Sr. will call a timeout. Looking to double the lead and push it to a 6-point deficit. The kick from Woods, the Irvington, New Jersey native, is good. And Alabama adds to the lead going into the break as it's 13-7. We're hanging in there. We're within one score. But we have not exactly had a great game offensively. Only 14 rushing yards. We could not run the ball last week. And so far that has carried over to today. Mark Armstrong has 16 yards on the ground. The rest of the team has -2. Clyde Pool has given us nothing as a scrambler, but he's been very good as a thrower. 11 of 15, 120 yards and a touchdown, along with 2 50-plus yard passes taken off the board. As for Alabama, Kieran Riddle's been quite good as well, 15 of 19, spreading the ball to all of his top receivers. Virginia Tech starts with it in the second half as Esteban Cabrera, the true freshman, going backwards. Tanner Mariani, the captain of the defense, brings him down, the senior linebacker. On 3rd down, Pool is wrapped up. Vi Casper, another senior linebacker, brings him home. Pivotal drive to start the 3rd quarter for Virginia Tech, and it ends in a 3-and-out. Alabama's got it back. Here's Suggs to the outside with a great block. Tracked down at the 30 by Carmen Drake, who had 2 sacks last week, 2 of our 7 sacks. We don't have any sacks so far in this game. Riddle looking up the middle. He's got Trey Lawson, who brings it inside the 10. Of Alabama's top receivers, I think Lawson might be the best of the group. 6'5", 206, big, physical, competitive, and productive. A 4-year star at Alabama with over 1,000-plus yards in each of the last 2 seasons. The list of players in Alabama history with more receiving yards than him is not very big. Devontae Smith, Amari Cooper, and Trey Lawson. That's pretty good company, and he's got a chance to surpass both of those guys by the end of the year. Gandy into the end zone for a touchdown. Alabama adds to the lead. 2 scores for the true freshman, Jalen Gandy, and it's 19-7. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Tide look to go for 2. Gandy has not gotten the ball a lot tonight, but he's been very effective when he has. I'm surprised they did not go for the 2 points. It's 20-7 now, as Virginia Tech gets it with under 6 to go in the 3rd. Pool keeps it on the read option, jukes away from the defender, gets the 1st down. He had -2 rushing yards in the first half. Very unlike... Oh, come on! There's a flag! Illegal block in the back on Brandon Marbury. Virginia Tech is shooting themselves in the foot with these big plays, and it's not one guy making all the penalties. It's a bunch of different players. 3rd and 13. Pool looks to scramble again, and he is stopped shy at the yard to gain. Wrapped up after a gain of 9. Still negative rushing yards today for Clyde Pool, as Alabama gets it back up 20-7 with 3:30 to play in the 3rd. They've got one of their receivers in motion. That's actually Suggs, the running back, who's moving all around. Here is Riddle looking to throw it. It's caught by Lawson, who is pushed hard out of bounds by the freshman Colby Cook. Lawson's 6th catch of the game will not go for a 1st down. Big stop for the Hokies. Mark Armstrong on the handoff with room to the right side. Armstrong nearing the 1st. What the hell? Another flag. We finally get a good run from Mark, and it's coming back. Holding on Harrison Hammonds, the freshman left guard. I mean, how does this keep happening? I think everyone on the line has probably gotten some kind of penalty today. 2 to go in the 3rd. Pool hit hard as he throws, and it's broken up for Jontre Hickson. It's really hard to move the ball when the offensive line is constantly being called for penalties. Under a minute to go in the third. It's 3rd and 11 for Alabama. Riddle under pressure from Drake. Looking deep. One-on-one coverage. Broken up. He was looking for Lawson, but Colby Cook is able to get a hand on it. So the defense is getting some stops, leaving the door open for the offense. At some point, we've got to add some points. Poole fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by Kingston Carter, who's actually going to get some yards out of it. Chester Lawrence with the strip sack. He's had a good game on the right tackle, Dante Diamont, who's supposed to be our best lineman. 2nd down and very long. Poole looks to run with it, and he will make up plenty of yards, gaining 17, making it a 3rd down and 4. And we're trying to hurry back to the line. We want to get this off before the end of the 3rd quarter, which we do. Poole looks short. It's Armstrong who hauls it in for the 1st down. 3 quarters wrapped up in Tuscaloosa. Not our best football there in that 3rd quarter as we find ourselves down 20-7 against Alabama. The game's not over, per se. We're moving the ball. We're able to get a 1st down despite the sack earlier on the drive. Still a lot of work to do. We've got to get a touchdown on this drive when we cannot settle for anything less. To open up the 4th quarter, pivotal 10 minutes for Clyde Pool and the Virginia Tech offense looking to pull off what would be an incredible upset. Poole up the middle. He's got Hickson again. Poole and Hickson seem to have a really good thing going. The chemistry between these two guys is really impressive, and especially for a guy like Hickson, who's had the same quarterback since he was 5 years old. Ishmael just shy of the 1st down marker on 3rd and 6. That'll make it a 4th and 1, and as I said earlier, we're not settling for anything less. We're keeping the offense out, and we're going to go for it. Poole hands it off. Armstrong, he walks the red carpet and is in for a touchdown. 21 rushing scores for Mark Armstrong in his first 2 seasons here, including 14 as a sophomore. Hit a receiving touchdown last week and is now in for his first rushing score of the year. It's a 1-possession game here in the 4th quarter against Alabama. We're certainly in it. The best world brings down Suggs, his 4th tackle for loss of the game. Talk about living up to his name. The best, middle name Inda, last name World. He's a big linebacker who's an old school, hard-hitting thumper. He played a rotational role as a freshman, played more regularly last year as a sophomore. He already has 6 TFLs this year. The improvement he's made has been very noticeable. We're keeping him closer to the line of scrimmage where I think he's at his best. 2nd and 11, here's Suggs to the outside with a juke move. Someone's got to bring him down. Watkins, Cook, someone, as the best world is hurt right as we're gassing him up. He's been our best defensive player today, so that's certainly not a very timely injury. Nice move by Jamarian Suggs as he gets around 8, wrapped up by Noah Singleton, the captain of the defense with his 200th career tackle. Singleton, a 4-year starter here at Virginia Tech, has been a stalwart of the defense and is the highest-rated player on the roster as a 91 overall. He's got solid size, solid athleticism, solid in run support, solid in coverage. He's very well-rounded. I don't think he's going to be a high pick or anything, but I think towards the middle of the NFL draft, someone with his intangibles and his production, I think an NFL team's going to get themselves a great player. Like World, I want to keep him closer to the line of scrimmage. He had 3 TFLs in the opener against James Madison. His season high was 4 prior to this year. I think using World and Singleton more effectively will really be able to get the most out of these two. Suggs with another 1st down as he gets it to around the 15. Biggest defensive drive of the game, and the run defense, who's been rock solid all year, has not been good. On 3rd down, that one is high. Bad throw by Riddle, and that'll bring out the field goal unit. They should still be able to make it a 2-score game. A pretty easy kick for Darren Woods, right down the middle. And it's 23-14. Virginia Tech will get it back, down by 9. We've got to score, and we've got to score fast with under 5 minutes to go. There's officially a sense of urgency for us. Time is of the essence. Poole hit as he throws. He's got Jontre Hickson again at a bounds at around the 45. A good start to the drive for Hickson, who's nearing the century mark in yardage this evening. I'm curious if him and Riddle are still friends or it's going to be awkward after the game. Poole misfires. That'll make it a 4th down and 7. We've got to go for it. We're late enough in the game to where what else are we going to do? We don't really have a choice. Poole looks to throw it, scrambles to the right. On the run, he's going to go short. Armstrong lowers the shoulder and barely gets the 1st down. A big conversion for Virginia Tech, essentially keeping the game alive. Play action. Pool under pressure. He's going to have to get rid of it. Or will he? Tucks it and runs. Gets the first down inside the 20. A huge run for Clyde Pool, who's been much better as a scrambler in the second half. That's a gain of 22, his longest of the night. We're moving the ball really quick. This has been great. Cabrera with a juke move. He gets the first down. Esteban Cabrera has not been all that effective so far, but he gets a nice run there. Second and goal. Play action. Pool on the run. It is caught! And Virginia Tech is an extra point away from bringing it within 2. Jontre Hickson, second touchdown of the game. A magnificent drive from Clyde Pool. We moved down the field as quick as we could, using maybe a minute of clock, and now we've got a decision to make. Our run defense was not very good on the last drive, and given that a field goal keeps it a one-score game, I'm actually comfortable with going for an onside kick here. I think using the analytics, the timing at the risk makes sense for us. The kick from Ashton Lemon is on the ground and scooped up by Alabama. Not very stressful for the Tide. So they're looking to chew clock as it's a read option. Kieran Riddle keeps it, gets the first down where he's wrapped up by Jair Hill and Colby Cook inside the 30-yard line. Again, a field goal does keep it a one-score game. With 2:15 to go, Virginia Tech only down by 2. Gandy to the outside, inside the red zone with a first down. Trucks through Gold as the Hokies begin to use their timeouts. Now at the 2-minute timeout, it's second and goal at around the 3-yard line. Riddle under center, hands it off. Gandy is stopped. And that leaves us with a pivotal third and goal. If we can hold them out of the end zone here, we can get the ball back down by 1 score. Receiver in motion, that's Lexington. Riddle keeps it. Riddle, spin move, he's in! Touchdown, Alabama! Kieran Riddle, what a run! And the Tide are back ahead by 2 scores. Kieran Riddle's an athlete. I told you, he can really move. He's had a very solid game as a runner, and he makes an excellent move, gets by Watkins, and now it is really not looking good for Virginia Tech, down by 9. Minute and a half to go. We've got to move as quick as possible. There's a quick first down up the middle for Mark Armstrong. Minute 20, play action. Pool dances around to the right side. He's got room to run, and he will take it with a nice block by Ishmael, and is out of bounds, stopping the clock, but not before he gets the first down. Following play, Pool wants to go deep. Doesn't really look like anyone's open. He's going to hurl it up anyway, and it is incomplete. We're not getting anyone open down the field. Pool took a big shot on that play. It looks like he's hurt, but he's going to tough it out and stay in the game. Second and 10. Wide open up the middle. Ahmad Slayton gets it to the 25. Let's keep it moving. Tick, 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 tick. We do not have time. Just over a minute and 1 timeout left for Virginia Tech. Pool, clearly laboring in pain, rolls to the right. High pass, hauled in. Nazir Ishmael inside the 5. We got to continue to move quick here, guys. We need 2 scores. We've got to punch it in now. With around 30 seconds, third and goal. Pool looking short. Armstrong tries to get by his blocker. Brandon Marbury was in the way. That'll make it a 4th and goal now with 26 seconds. Pool looks to throw it. Scrambles to the left side. Pool can't outrun the defender. He is sacked. Frank Gano brings him down, and that should just about do it. If Pool was, not injured, he maybe could have outrun him, but after taking the big hit earlier on the drive, he couldn't. I would think Alabama would kneel the clock out. We don't have any timeouts. The game is over, but they're going to keep the ball, I guess. It's a read option. Here's Riddle with it. Fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by Singleton. Okay, maybe the game is not over. Virginia Tech gets it back in the red zone. Singleton picks up the fumble, forced by the junior cornerback, Jair Hill. Our starter on the outside, opposite of Elihu Gold. Obviously, Gold got all the attention last week, but Hill is a very intriguing player in his own right. 6'1", 204 pounds, coming from Philly. He's been a part-time role player, essentially, over the last 2 years. Won the job as the starting outside corner. He's been pretty solid so far, in my opinion. I think his football instincts, as you can see on this play, are really impressive. That is clearly a fumble. We're not going to review it, and the Hokies get it back. I don't know if this is a good thing or not, because now we have to bring Clyde Pool, who's injured, back onto the field. He gets it to Armstrong, who gets the first down. With 5 seconds left, we're going to go no huddle. Might have enough time for one more play, which won't be enough. As Virginia Tech gets back to the line, will they get the snap off? They do not! And that is how this game comes to a close. Alabama holds off the pesky Hokies 30-21 with a really solid performance from Kieran Riddle, who was able to catch up with some former teammates after the game. Reports say him and Jontre Hickson did not link up, though. Childhood friends since 5 years old, but with Hickson's decision to transfer, that relationship appears to have taken a crack. Well, Hickson's our guy. Obviously, we're going to stick up for him, and he had a great game in this one. But I cannot say the same for a lot of the other players on the roster. I will say, though, it was really nice to see us be competitive the entire game with a team as good as Alabama, ranked in the top 5 with an absolutely loaded roster. I mean, we were in it for the most part until the end. Yeah, we didn't really have much of a chance in the fourth quarter, but we had a chance. We were kind of in the game. The offense only scored 7 points through the first 3, but we made a rally towards the end. Clyde Pool had some misses, but I think overall he had a good game. 270 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, negative rushing yards in the first half, but he had over 60 in the second half. Now, the design run game still has not been very good, though. Mark Armstrong had 20 yards on 9 carries last week. This week, 9 for 24. Cabrera was not great. Virgo was not great. 6 for 97 and 2 scores for Hickson. He was impressive. Armstrong and Ishmael both getting involved as well. As I talked about last week, I want to get Ishmael more involved vertically. Now, we did have the 2 big catches from him that were both called back. Neither of those penalties on him, so I'll give him a little pat on the back. A lot of tackles. A lot of TFLs. The best in the world had 4, but we only had 1 sack, and we only had the late turnover. The defense did not make enough timely plays, although I don't think they were horrible by any stretch either. 22 of 30, 225 for Riddle. Solid game through the air. Had the big rushing touchdown late on the ground. I don't think he was that much better than Clyde Pool. I think the 2 of them played very similar games. Through the air, Addington and Lawson lead the way. Moses Lexington was the quietest as he took a visit on Elihu Island. Another very strong game for Gold. Lot of pancakes. Good Lord. Perfection Winston living up to his name with 21. Then the Alabama defense was really solid. They had 5 sacks. No takeaways, though. Clyde Pool, 0 interceptions through the first 2 games. He's done a good job of protecting the football, which was an area he was inconsistent at. With Kansas, he averaged 10 interceptions a season in his first 3 years with the Jayhawks. So that area of this game appears to have really improved. We've got a fun slate of non-conference games to go over across the nation here in Week 2. Clemson looks to bounce back. They're facing off against Notre Dame. Tennessee will play against North Carolina, and we've got some other good ones as well. We will start in the SIP. Number 12, Ole Miss, facing off against the University of Alabama, Birmingham. Zarius Stone, the Ole Miss quarterback, is a really intriguing long-term prospect to me. Had a great performance here in the win for the Rebels, a very high-scoring game, 45-35. Stone has played more football than any quarterback in the country. He's started over 3+ seasons worth of games now with the Rebels. He's got the physicals, though, I think, to be a high pick. I really, really like him. He had a great game, minus an interception, completing 76% of his throws. Sophomore Cedric Carter with 3 scores on the ground, while junior quarterback Michael Johns, one of the higher-rated, smaller school quarterbacks, had a pretty good game himself for UAB. It feels weird being on the other side watching this Kansas team play. Their first game without us at the helm against number 9 Washington, and to the surprise of just about everyone, it went really well. Kansas with the upset of the year so far, not only beating Washington, but snatching their chain. 34-10. Everybody laugh at the Huskies, who are out of the rankings entirely. Big performance from quarterback Derry Frozen and running backs Carnell Screamer and Rye Heaven. Through the air, Elliott Church and Alani Crime both played well. Anyone picking up on the theme? We'll get to see these Jayhawks in the next episode. Paul Green Jr., the transfer from Oregon, not a very good outing in his Washington debut. Maybe shouldn't have jumped to the ops, buddy. As a Kansas and Oregon fan, I've got to say I grinned for a good 5 minutes after I saw that score. Number 13, Texas Tech, one of the favorites in the Big 12, facing off against Georgia Tech, and we had a very surprising upset here in Lubbock, Texas. The Jackets knock off the Red Raiders. It's been a really strong start this year for the ACC. Georgia Tech wins 33-28. Georgia Tech is not supposed to be one of the better teams in the conference. I believe we are going to get to play against these guys later in the year. They are one of our smaller rivalries, but still a rivalry nonetheless. Colin Westwood did not have a great game for Texas Tech, and his all-star supporting cast was pretty quiet outside of Caleb Hobbs. Only 3 catches for 34 yards for Jordan Newton, one of the top players in the transfer portal coming from Tulsa. Tennessee, your new number 1, following their win against Clemson a week ago, face off against North Carolina. The ACC had a really good week, but maybe not so much in this game, as the Vols hold on to their top spot in the polls. 3 touchdowns for running back Marcel Merrick. 49-28, Tennessee with the win over UNC. I don't know what to make of this North Carolina quarterback. Jadale Mathis is really talented, 369 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. But he's not very accurate. He misses a lot of throws. Braden Rogers, the standout junior, had a rough game, under 3 yards a carry. As for Tennessee, their offense looks like the real deal. Although I will point out, I did change their playbook because Tennessee's playbook in this game is unbelievably cheesy. So don't worry, we're not going to have Tennessee players win the Heisman every year. Although if Marcel Merrick plays like this and gets the ball 30 times a game, then maybe he will. Notre Dame, number 8, heads to Clemson to face off against the number 6th ranked Tigers, who lost their first game of the year, looking to avoid another one. However, Notre Dame, with quarterback Brennan Holloway, had other plans. The preseason number 1 Clemson falls to 0-2. 45-37 Notre Dame, despite a big comeback in the fourth quarter for Clemson, who trailed 38-10 going into the fourth. So we're being completely honest, this was a blowout for Notre Dame. Nick Eberle did play really well, though. That's as good of a stat line as you can ask for in a blowout. 160 yards for Tyler Bourne, Cole Gooden also with a score. Brendan Holloway completed 80% of his throws. He was awesome. The turnovers have been the issue with Holloway as a starter at Notre Dame, but he's done a good job this year of avoiding those. Jaden Williams, 146 yards, and Gogo Hollands added over 100 more through the air. Florida State, coming off a bad loss last week against Air Force, looks to avoid 0-2. But Boston College ended up having other plans. The Seminoles, coming off of one of their most embarrassing seasons in program history, starts the season 0-2. Boston College, 31-28. Really good performance for Rasheer Stewart, the quarterback of the Eagles, outperforming Derek Bowen, Florida State's sophomore quarterback. I've been a little disappointed so far with running back Denzel Bond. I really felt like he was a top 5 back in the country coming into the year, but he hasn't played like it through 2 weeks. Oklahoma State takes care of West Virginia. As I said earlier in the year, the Cowboys are my pick ahead of Texas Tech to win the Big 12, and I guess this week kind of reiterated that. Good win for Florida, one of the youngest teams in the country. LSU with their first win of the season. Oregon defeats Army. There weren't many shocking upsets across the nation this week, I will say. Arizona's now ranked. Oklahoma with a win. East Carolina puts up 52 points again. Back-to-back 50 burgers for the Pirates. In the ACC, Louisville wins their first game of the year, beating Colorado State. Duke blows out Western Kentucky. Virginia with a nice win. And then as we look nationally at some more results, shutout win for Syracuse. Liberty over UTSA in a high-scoring game. James Madison wins their first of the year. Dorian Sahara over 100 yards. His stat line last week will not be the norm. Elihu Gold, again, what a performance from him. Miami defeats Colorado 56-10. The Hurricanes, of course, will be hosting Alabama this coming week. TCU now ranked. They beat Tulsa 48-17, and then Missouri, who we're about to play in just a few minutes, blows out BYU 42-10. As we take a look at our new polls, no major movement at the top. Notre Dame jumps a few spots. They surpass Alabama. Clemson, 0-2, started the year number 1. They are in danger of not being ranked, and I imagine they would fall out of the rankings if they lose this week, hosting number 18 Oklahoma. The Sooners are 1-1. They lost last week against Pitt, so that is a huge game for both of these teams. Week 2 is usually when we have our first little bit of Heisman movement, and that's the case again this year. Graham Glikowski, the quarterback of Miami, in first place, surpassing his receiver Marquise Maryland, who had a great game against Colorado. He is still on the list. Sir Odiah Nobles, the freshman of Georgia, in fourth. He's one of the best long-term prospects in the country. Keelan Miranda and Cornell Dunbar win the Players of the Week. Marquise Maryland and Nathan Dawsey win it in the ACC. So that'll get us set for Week 3 back at home against Missouri. A huge week recruiting-wise. 4 very talented prospects visiting the campus this week with running back Amir Alba, tight end Gideon Zavala, edge rusher Fabian Bean, and linebacker Darrell Evanson. All 4 of these guys are 4-stars. Their recruitments have heated up very quickly, and a good visit would go a long way in potentially making some of these guys the first commits in the series. Obviously, this is a pivotal recruiting class. We want to get the ground going, and we'll see if any of these 4 guys ultimately end up coming here. We are currently in first place for only one of them in Amir Alba, so we certainly need this game against Missouri to go well, and we're certainly hoping that these 4 guys can enjoy their weekend. This is our only true home game of the year that's at night, so that's a big deal as well. Saturday nights in Blacksburg can be a whole lot of fun. Missouri's challenged themselves with this non-conference schedule, losing to Iowa, beating BYU, and then look at the SEC schedule. I mean, this is just brutal. I don't think Kentucky's very good, but literally everybody else in that SEC slate is really good. Everybody else other than Texas is ranked, and Texas is one of the first teams out of the poll. Let's take a look at this Missouri team led by a true freshman quarterback in Caden Almanza, who won the starting job. He's been up and down so far through the first couple of weeks, but a kid who they very clearly believe in. He's got a solid group of skilled guys. Terrence Madu over 8 yards per carry in the win against BYU last week. And they've got a really nice receiving core. Chris Venable, Caleb Grubb, both of these guys I think will be NFL players in the future. And then they've got some good freshmen as well. Mervis Pettis and team captain Benjamin Colaboy. Redshirt freshman captain, that's pretty impressive. They've got a good offensive line and a good defense led by cornerback Corian Bath, another guy who I think is going to be an NFL prospect, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into some of these players later in the matchup. Missouri, of course, is a rival of Clyde Pool. Clyde played against Missouri twice in his collegiate career, including his very first start where he scored a game-winning touchdown with just seconds left to win. And then his very first game as a sophomore. We got the win in that matchup as well, but Poole has not played against them since. He didn't play against Missouri as a junior, and he was injured when we played them and won 49-3 as a senior. Clyde Pool may no longer play at Kansas, but you cannot take the Jayhawk out of him. He still hates these guys and is hoping that his Virginia Tech Hokies can pull off the win tonight. To start the game, Missouri opens up on offense. Terrence Madu with a nice block. Spins away for a gain of around 12 and a good opener here for Missouri. Following play, they'll go play action. Almanza's first throw of the game. He wants it all. Caleb Grubb, wide open. Oh no, he drops it. Wow, we got lucky. That is as easy of a touchdown as you'll find. Are you kidding me? That was right in his hands. How did he drop that? 7 points taken off the board for Missouri. On third down, Almanza is sacked. Carmen Drake, his third of the year, and that'll end the drive. You got to feel for this poor quarterback, man. He should have had the touchdown. That was an unbelievable throw. And so now the Hokies get it for the first time today. White helmets, maroon jerseys, and white bottoms. This is probably my favorite uniform combination this team has. Let me know what you think in the comments. As Poole is hit as he throws and is incomplete. A 3-and-out for the Virginia Tech offense. 3rd and 5 for Missouri. Boink, 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 incomplete. We had 3 guys get their hands on the ball. None of them were able to come down with it. The Hokies get it back, looking at a 3rd down and 6. Poole will look to throw it. Poole looking for the sideline. It's hauled in. Mark Armstrong with the first down past the 50. Good throw and catch. I don't think that was Poole's initial read, so a good job there by Clyde to adjust. Poole under pressure, looking deep. It is caught! Nazir Ishmael to the 20. First down as he mosses the All-American corner, Corian Bath. Clyde looking good early, 4 for 5, 51 yards. Play action, Poole, back of the end zone, touchdown! Virginia Tech strikes first. It's Nazir Ishmael once again. This sophomore is a superbly talented player. In the first episode, I said he's probably the best player on this team. 5-star recruit, had a solid freshman year with Kieran Riddle as the quarterback. Now with Clyde, I think the two of them are still adjusting to each other. I don't think Clyde has ever gotten to work with a receiver with this combination of size, speed, and route running. I definitely want to use Ishmael more as a vertical threat. I mean, we saw it on that drive, 2 huge catches. He can run every route in the book. He's so big. He's so fast. I think this guy has a chance to be a first-round pick in 2 years. I mean, he is really, really good. Madu going backwards. The best world. Another tackle for loss. I think he's up to 7 already on the season. 2nd and 12. Almanza fakes the handoff. Under pressure. On the run. It's caught. Really nice grab for a first down. That one's hauled in by Chris Venable, the redshirt junior, a guy who I think has an NFL future, whether it's this year or next year. They fake the jet sweep and the pass as it's caught by Duke Goff, who can't keep his feet in bounds, and he loses multiple yards on that play. 3rd down and 14 now for Missouri, backed up at the 32. Almanza, a screen for Madu, and he loses 4 more. Noah Singleton brings him down, and that's going to lead to a pretty challenging kick here for Missouri. A 53-yard try for the redshirt sophomore Corey McCaskill, looking to put the Tigers on the board, and it is right down the middle. Never a doubt, a great kick by McCaskill, and that'll make it 7-3. So a solid drive by Missouri, not a great ending, but they do score. Virginia Tech gets it back late in the first. 3rd and 10, minute and a half in the quarter. Pool scrambles around up the middle, slides for the first down. Really, with the holding calls, I mean, this is just like when Clyde Pool played at Kansas. And what I remember is the Jayhawks offense had considerably less holding calls when Kerry Chosen was the starter. So maybe it's a Clyde Pool thing, and that's why we have so many holding calls. 3rd and 20 now. Pool looking down the field, broken up. In and out of the hands of his receiver, Ishmael, who's unable to hold on to that one. That'll lead to a punt, and Missouri gets it back. 1:06 to go in the first quarter now on first down. Caden Almanza looks to throw it. Open receiver. It's caught. Plenty of room after the catch inside the 35-yard line. A really nice play by the tight end, DeMarco Bollinger. Less than a minute to go in the quarter. Missouri's offense started slow, but they have really gotten going. Almanza with a strike. The Tigers inside the 10-yard line as Duke Goff gains around 26. 2nd and goal. Will Missouri score before the end of the quarter? Yes, they do. Terrence Madu is in for a touchdown, and Missouri leads at 10-7. And you could argue it could be 17-7 if they didn't have that wide-open touchdown that was dropped, later resulting in a punt. Just seconds to go in the quarter. Armstrong loses yardage. We still cannot run the ball. And the defense had probably their worst quarter of the season. I mean, we were lucky that they only scored 10 points. Caden Almanza and Clyde Pool both have been quite solid so far. The offense has been all right up to this point. They certainly have not been the problem. As it is 3rd down and 11. Pool scrambles to the right under a ton of pressure. Hit as he throws, incomplete. Another stop for the Tiger defense, and we'll see if their offense can continue this hot start. On 2nd down, Madu in motion. Almanza looks to throw it. His pass is caught! Bollinger mosses Colby Cook, and he gets it past the 50. This offense is in complete rhythm right now. They look unstoppable at the moment. Play action. Cook ran too far! Almanza with the first down, nearing the 30. Colby Cook executed the blitz perfectly, but he ran too far in. 2nd and 10. Here's Almanza. This time he does not escape. Jensen Diglio, the senior edge rusher, with his first sack of the year. And that'll make it a 3rd and 11 for Missouri. Diglio is a new addition, one of Coach Teamer's first commits coming from the transfer portal. 6'4", 240 pounds, was not a super highly regarded guy out of high school. I know it said he was a 4-star, but that was his transfer rating. 3.5 sacks last year at UCLA, really the first season where he played, and was quite solid on a limited snap basis. We think with a full-time role, he can be really, really solid, as Missouri is now looking at a 3rd down and 11. Backed up at around the 33-yard line. Almanza under pressure, goes short. It is caught, but certainly not enough for the first down. That's Caleb Grubb, who had the bad drop earlier. And that will make it a 4th down and 8 for Missouri. They made a long field goal earlier. McCaskill's kick again right through the uprights. And the Tigers double their lead. It's 13-7. Virginia Tech gets it back. 7:34 to go in the first half. We'll see if the offense can really get rolling. As it's Ashwell Virgo, the freshman. My God, he is slow. But he gains around 30. He's not a guy who's going to break off the big one. He only has 80 speed, which is not ideal. But otherwise, I think he's been pretty impressive so far in a limited role this year. Play action for Armstrong. Here's Poole on the run. Wide open. He is Hickson. Tries to juke away from Corey and Bath. He cannot, but he does bring it into the red zone for a Hokie first down. Now a 1st and goal with under 6 to go in a goal line formation. Poole, QB sneak, and he is in. Takes the brunt of a hit, but it is a touchdown. That's Clyde's first run of the entire game. He really has not scrambled at all. But it's a touchdown, a successful first run. And the Hokies are back ahead, 14-13, with a little over 5 to go. Mizzou back with it, play action. Here is Almanza. Scrambles up the middle, another first down for the true freshman, who tries to break away from Justice Watkins. Gets some help late, but not before scrambling near the 50. Our defense continues to really struggle. Almanza is eventually brought down. Diglio and Drake are both there. 1.5 sacks today for each of them. A huge play defensively, making it a 3rd down and 16 for Missouri. So they're going to just run the ball, waving the white flag on this drive as Madu loses more yardage. The redshirt senior, Azavius Haynes, the 5th year, brings him down. Haynes is the other one of our team captains defensively. He's the only player on the roster who's been here for 5 years, so he is the longest tenured guy on the squad. He has 10 sacks through his first full 3 seasons, had a sack and a half through the first 2 games of the year, so he's been playing really well so far. 3rd and 8, Jantre Hickson gains only 6. A stop for Missouri. I thought about going for it, but I think it's too early. Inside the 50, maybe not a great idea. Missouri gets it back with no time at all. It's the true freshman, Royland Mathis, with the sack. Mathis had a great game against JMU. Did not really show up at all against Alabama. But there he is, sending pressure. 4th sack of the first half for Virginia Tech. 2nd and 15. Madu going backwards again. Elihu Gold leads the way, and I think that was Diglio who finished it off. Missouri's chewing clock. Again, waving the white flag on this drive as they're going to run it with Madu once more. And he gets a few, wrapped up by DeBest World. So Virginia Tech is going to call the timeout, and they will get it back with good starting field position. Under 40 to go, it's Cabrera. Fumbles the ball! And it's quickly scooped up by Virginia Tech. I mean, we dodged a bullet there, forced away by Richard June. 3rd and 10, 31 seconds left now, and just 1 timeout for the Hokies. Poole looks to throw it. Under pressure, his pass is low for Hickson, and we will have to punt it away. Missouri with 21 seconds left, they get it back. As Almanza will go short for Madu, who fumbles it, and it's picked up by the defense! Colby Cook, the redshirt freshman, forces and recovers the fumble. He's telling the offense to hurry back on the field, probably because he doesn't think that was an actual fumble. Regardless, a phenomenal play by the freshman, a guy who's going to play a key role for us this year and moving forward. A really versatile defensive back. He can play safety, he can play slot, he can play box. I think he's going to be one of the most unique players on the defense. I don't really know what his long-term role is going to be, but he can really wear a lot of hats and do a few different things. I don't think that was a fumble. I see why he was telling everyone to hurry back, but they're not going to review it. We're keeping the ball. 2nd and 10 with 10. Poole on the run. It's caught. Hickson. Touchdown! What an end to the first half for Virginia Tech. A huge turnover from the freshman, Colby Cook. Leads to a touchdown from Clyde Pool to Jantre Hickson, his 3rd receiving touchdown of the episode. A huge momentum booster for the Hokies, who could have gone into the half only up by 1. But the turnover and the touchdown puts us in a good spot, and Missouri's like, yeah, no more please. We're just going to kneel out the clock. Overall, I felt like Missouri was the better team in the first half. They were up 13-7 with, 6-7 minutes to go in the second quarter. And they should have been up by more, if not for the touchdown that was dropped But we had a couple nice plays on offense, a couple nice drives. Obviously, the turnover forced out by Colby Cook. That brings us to the second half, up by 8. Another strong showing so far for Clyde Pool. 11 of 19, 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's only ran it once, though. 0 yards, but a touchdown on the QB sneak. The design run game, though, still is not really working. 10 carries for just 30 yards from Mark Armstrong. Asheville Virgo has 29 yards, meanwhile, on just 2 carries. Through the air, our top 2 receivers, Hicksman and Ishmael, have both been really good. 49 yards for Hickson, 62 for Ishmael. Both of them have scored. Early in the third, Pool on the scramble. Where's this been in the first half? Clyde Pool runs out of bounds. It's a gain of around 17 yards. Now a 3rd and 7. Pool looks to throw it. He connects. It's Ishmael inside the 20, past the 15. We've been specifically throwing him the ball when number 7, Corian Bath, is not covering him, and it has certainly worked. On 3rd down, Pool has a wide open rushing lane, waltzing into the end zone for a touchdown. 4 scores for Clyde Pool, 2 through the air, 2 through the ground, and Virginia Tech has all the momentum. That's 21 unanswered points with the PAT. Clyde Pool and the offense have really gotten rolling, and the defense, after a slow opening 15 minutes, has played a lot better since then. And now Missouri's really got a sense of urgency. They've lost all the momentum. They're down by 15 points. I think Caden Almanza's been pretty good, 12 of 18, 116, but they need a little more from him. It's not all good news, though, for the Hokies. Our freshman left tackle, Kingston Carter, tore his labrum. That's a multi-week injury. The true sophomore, Emmanuel Fraboni, who was the starting left tackle for much of last year, will replace him. So at least we're getting a guy in there with experience. 3rd and 10. Almanza's deep ball is incomplete. In and out of the hands of Samson Abbott, the redshirt sophomore corner. Virginia Tech back with it, looking to turn this maybe into a blowout as Asheville Virgo gets a nice run up the middle. Of our 3 running backs, Virgo statistically has clearly been the best of the group. I feel like the offensive line has given him the most holes, but at what point is it not a coincidence, and it's just that Virgo's the best running back on the team? Armstrong up the middle. See, doesn't get much. That was a 3rd down as well. Virginia Tech running the ball on 3rd and long, trying to catch the defense off guard. Doesn't really work, and that'll lead to a punt. Starting at the 12, Almanza connects deep. Benjamin Calaboy, the redshirt freshman, past the 30. It's a gain of 61 for Calaboy, a freshman team captain. Not something you see every day, but clearly a young man that this program is really, really excited about, as he gets a huge gain for a Missouri offense who needed some signs of life. Up the middle, another nice throw inside the 10-yard line. That one is hauled in by Duke Goff. 1st and goal, Almanza keeps it himself on the read option, and he gets smothered. Noah Singleton brings him down as we now look at a 3rd and goal at around the 10. They're just going to run the ball with Madu, who does not get much. Singleton leads the way, joined by one of the backup safeties, Teron Morrison. And that'll bring out the field goal unit. A 25-yarder for McCaskill, who's made 2 much longer kicks, both from the right hash as well. This one is no good! He missed it! Wide to the right. Missouri's offense is having nothing go their way. They looked unstoppable earlier in the game. Now they can't get out of their own way. Cabrera loses around 3. It has been a rough start to the year for Esteban Cabrera. We may be second-guessing not redshirting him. Pool sacked on 1st down. There's a spark for Missouri. Derek Shepley, their top edge rusher, brings him down, a true junior. 3rd down and very long now for Virginia Tech. Minute 19 to go in the 3rd. Pool rolls out to the right, looking to run with it as it is broken up, looking for Adams. He probably should have kept it there. Normally, I'm not telling Clyde Pool to run it, but that play he probably should have. Just about a minute to go in the quarter. A nice move by Madu, who has not had a particularly productive game, but he gets a good run there for the 1st down. Will this be the drive where Missouri finally can put themselves back into the game? As Almanza looking deep yet again for Caleb Grubb. It is caught inside the 5. Another spark for Missouri. 56 yards for Grubb, although the booth is going to take a look at it. I know it says Virginia Tech challenging it. I'm not challenging it because he clearly was in bounds. This is the booth's doing, not mine, so we're not going to lose a timeout. But let's talk about this kid, Caleb Grubb, whose performance today has been overshadowed by his early drop, taking a touchdown off the board. But this kid is really talented. He's waited his turn here at Missouri, finally has gotten to be a starter this year, and he's been impressive. And he's had a good game today, minus that hilarious drop that may have unironically saved us. Good third quarter for Virginia Tech. We lead it 28-13. Certainly not out of reach, though, for Missouri. And this game's been pretty evenly matched, despite what the score will tell you. They have more yards per play than us, and they've left a lot of points on the board with the drop touchdown and the missed field goal. This game should be a lot closer. Almanza tucks it, runs, and scrambles in, even with Singleton all over him. The Tigers finally back on the board. Caden Almanza with the rushing touchdown, and they could make it a one-score game. Not every day do you see a true freshman quarterback starting in the SEC. We've got a few this year. Almanza, arguably the best of the group. He only has 69 deep accuracy, which really surprises me because he's not been afraid to go deep today, and he's made all of his long throws. He's had an up-and-down start, had a really good game against BYU last week. Not so good in the loss against Iowa. I mean, there's going to be growing pains. He's a 74 overall freshman. But I think this kid's got a lot of potential. He's clearly really, really talented. Missouri did not go for the two-point try, so technically it is a one-score game now, 28-20. Armstrong fumbles it, but it's picked up by Tech. So to add to the running back debate, both Mark Armstrong and Esteban Cabrera have both fumbled it in this game, as Clyde Pool has all the space in the world past the 40-yard line. Look at those little legs run. A huge gain for Clyde Pool as he gets 32 yards. Under 8 to go in the fourth. 2nd and 6. Pool up the middle. Hickson first down. He gets it to around the 5. 5 catches, 62 yards. Another very productive day for Jontre Hickson, who's been really good this year. 2nd and goal. Virgo walks in for a touchdown. Asheville Virgo's getting the ball more here in the second half as he continues to clearly perform the best of the running backs, and as he continues to play well, he's going to continue to take touches from Armstrong and Cabrera because he's been far better than both of them so far this year. A redshirt freshman, Virgo was not heavily recruited coming out of high school as a 3-star, but he had a huge offseason of progression with star development, jumping up to a 75 overall. Of course, the speed is not great, only an 80. But he's been effective as a runner, and he's good as a receiver. Had 7 catches through the first 2 matchups of the year. And today, on design runs, he's been far more effective than our other running backs. 35-20. Missouri back down by 15 with 7 to go. Almanza looks to scramble. He has been really good as a runner today as he gets the first down before sliding right in front of Noah Singleton. 3rd down and 8, under 6 to go. Almanza floats it up, and it's broken away. Should have been intercepted. That was Justice Watkins' ball, number 9. But the corner, number 8, Jair Hill, had to kind of poke his head in there. Watkins should have had the interception. 4th and 8, Missouri's going to go for it. Almanza looking deep again, one-on-one, it is caught! Touchdown, Missouri! The Tigers will not quit. It's Corey and Bath, the All-American corner, who lines up at receiver and makes the biggest play of the game for Missouri. Do they have their own Travis Hunter? I saw this kid as a possible top 100 pick at corner with his consistency in both man and zone coverage, his elite speed, and solid build. He's not that tall, only 5'10", but he's thick, 200 pounds. Apparently, he dabbles in some offense as well. Plays like that will certainly get NFL teams excited about his two-way potential as he leaves number 1, Darius Penny, in the dust. It's a one-score game again, 35-27. Tech gets it back, where we're looking to run some clock out. Armstrong with a big run. There we go. I know Mark Armstrong is capable of this. He's done it over the last 2 years here as he gets nearly 20 yards. 4.5 to go. Play action for Virgo. Pool under a lot of pressure. He has Virgo wide open. Past the 30. Whoop. Tries to juke away from the defender. He cannot, but he gets it around the 25-yard line, his first catch of the game. Virginia Tech has wasted no time marching down the field. I wanted to take a little more time off the clock, but hey, this is a good alternative. Pool slides very early. We could have gotten more yards, but I want to choose some clock. as Missouri uses their first timeout. 2nd and 7, Poole looks to throw it. He has Marbury wide open, and we're not going to score. I want Missouri to use that last timeout. I want them to be out when they get the ball back. And for my Brandon Marbury fantasy owners, don't worry, you're still getting your touchdown. Very next play, a walk-in score for Marbury. 42-27, Virginia Tech with a 40-piece against Missouri. The Hokies averaging 39 points per game in their 2 home games this year, and we still have like 3 minutes to go. Who knows? We might have a chance to score again. 2:31 for Missouri. It is a 3rd down and 10. Almanza looks to throw it. Under pressure, short pass is caught. Not going to be enough for the first down. That's Grubb who gets a few. Obviously, they're going to have to go for it here on 4th and 6, and if they don't get it, that effectively ends the game. Missouri does not have any timeouts. Almanza will look to throw it. Up the middle, hauled in. Spin move as well after the play. A nice maneuver by Duke Goff, who gets the first down. 3rd and 20 now for Mizzou. Almanza looks to throw it. Under pressure, and that one is low. The receiver, Goff, unable to come down with it. 4th and 20. Under a minute and a half now. Missouri will go for it. Almanza under pressure, looking deep again, and it's tipped away. Smoke Lewis, the true freshman. We have not talked a lot about him today. This is actually the first game he's played. He didn't appear in either matchup against JMU or Alabama. I wanted to get him some snaps today, and I was really impressed. He's definitely going to see the field more. Virginia Tech wins it 42-27 against Missouri. A very high-scoring game here, but the Hokies take the win with 5 all-purpose touchdowns from Clyde Pool. Poole has scored 12 times this year on the air and on the ground combined, and he has 0 turnovers. Now, he did fumble it last week, but we picked it up, so that doesn't really count. Clyde Pool has been an amazing addition for the offense. I mean, he has been very, very effective, and it seems like he's really getting comfortable with some of these top receivers. Nearly 1,000 yards of total offense. This was a long game. I'm still trying to figure out the minimum play clock thing I want. Missouri went turbo the whole game, so that's how we ended up having 150 total plays, which is a little bit too much. 22 of 36, 247, and 3 scores through the air. Now, I will say Poole definitely had some misses. Got to clean up the accuracy, but otherwise really good. Armstrong was good in the second half. He had 81 yards. Poole had 67. Virgo had 66 on over 9 yards per carry. Cabrera, meanwhile, continues to be a disappointment. 6 carries, 11 yards, and a fumble. Armstrong also with a fumble as well. Through the air, Brandon Marbury had 5 catches. Ishmael, 5 for 90. Hickson, 5 for 62, and all 3 of them scored. Really good to have Ishmael as a big piece of the offense. And then defensively, started slow, ended slow, but in the middle of the game, we were really good. We had a number of sacks, and then the fumble forced and recovered by Colby Cook, I think was the biggest play of the game. I mean, that entirely shifted the momentum. Almanza had some crazy throws. He wasn't overly accurate, but he had some great deep balls. They didn't run it all that well through the air. Grubb was solid. Chris Venable, though, their number 1 receiver, was really quiet. They had a lot of big plays overall, including the touchdown by Bath. Venable only had 1 catch. He took a trip to Elihu Island as well. These 2 linebackers had a lot of tackles. Holy moly. They forced a couple of fumbles, but were not able to pick up either of them. I don't think we've turned the ball over yet this year. We've had a number of fumbles, but we've recovered all of them. So we're doing a great job of not giving the ball away. Now, on defense, we do need some more takeaways. I think we only have 2 this year, but that is a positive turnover margin. Alabama, Miami, and Oklahoma Clemson headline the games this week. I'm excited about SMU, LSU as well. I like the Mustangs in this game to upset LSU. We'll start with an ACC battle, though. Pitt defeated Oklahoma a couple of weeks ago. They're facing off against an NC State team who I think is really underrated. Well, they were underrated. Now I don't think they will be anymore. I think they're going to start to get the respect they deserve. Senior quarterback Micah Humble leads the way with the upset win over Pitt, 48-30. 328 yards, 3 scores, 75% completion percentage. If Micah Humble was not 5'10", he would be in the conversation with many of these other top quarterbacks across the country. He's really good. As for Pitt, Jaquarian Spencer matches his interception total from all of last year with 2. They didn't run the ball very well, At least the receivers were all good. Conklin, Lanier, the freshman, and Devontae Francois. SMU heads to Death Valley, facing off against 1-1 LSU. The Tigers, one of the youngest teams in the country. SMU is one of the oldest, and that showed. I have a lot more faith in this SMU quarterback, Tyree Wells, an experienced Power Conference starter, as he leads SMU to the upset, I guess. Is it really an upset? I think SMU's better than these guys. It's been an up-and-down start for the redshirt freshman Chase Priester. Bryce Davis has looked good, though. That's a win for LSU. As for the Mustangs, really, really solid game from Tyree Wells, the transfer from Colorado, nearly 450 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jonas Eugenio with 2 scores on the ground as well. Boston College coming off an upset a week ago, looking for another one in the shoe against number 2 Ohio State. This game was a lot closer than the Buckeyes could have hoped for, but Ohio State would end up surviving. I have not been very impressed with the Buckeyes so far this year. They had a bye week last week. The week before, they struggled to beat Houston. I don't think they've been all that good so far. You know who has been good? Rasheer Stewart. For 79 overall, this kid can really play. And then Frederick Titus with 200 yards. Wambali Mendoza only completed 56% of his throws. Yeah, he had nearly 400 yards, but that happens when you throw it like 60 times. Mendoza, the high-profile transfer from Ball State's been a little disappointing so far. Stanford heads to Arkansas State. Shout out Kane. Facing off against the Red Wolves, and we had a very surprising upset in this game as Arkansas State, with 4 all-purpose touchdowns from quarterback Dylan Irving, would get the win. Not a great look for the ACC, and not a great look for Stanford quarterback Isaiah Timpf, who many mock drafters have as not just a first-rounder, but the preseason favorite to be QB1 in this draft. He really struggled in this game, completing only 48% of his throws. Stanford couldn't run the ball. They couldn't play defense either. Just not a great game from them. And now the game of the week. Alabama heads down south, facing off against the University of Miami. We played against Alabama last week. We'll play against Miami later in the year. And it was the Canes with this touchdown by Marquise Maryland getting the win, pushing Miami up to the #1 spot in the polls, jumping Tennessee. Take that, Kieran Riddle, who, despite the loss, was actually quite good. His numbers were better than they were in the game against us. Everybody got the ball offensively. I feel like it's more of a big 4, if you count the tight end Dallas Addington. Graham Glikowski, who was getting some Heisman buzz coming into the week, living up to it. Nathan Wilson and Sir Micah Robinson running it very well. And Maryland with 2 more touchdowns. He has been an end zone machine this year. If he was even 6 foot, I think he'd be a consensus first rounder. Clemson 0-2. They know they have to win this game. And, well, they certainly played like it. Oklahoma caught the Tigers on the wrong day. Messiah Cook, the #1 player in this year's recruiting class, with the touchdown in a 33-7 win for Clemson. Nick Eberle statistically might have had his worst game yet. He's been really good despite the team not really winning games. As for OU, I said if Wyatt Cruz takes a leap, he could be the #1 pick this year. But he's been rough. 2 interceptions, 46% completion percentage. He's so physically talented, but he has such a long way to go if he wants to be a good starter at the next level. Nebraska heads to Stillwater, facing off against an Oklahoma State team who I think is box office television, one of the most fun offenses in the country. But it was Nebraska who got the upset. Sophomore running back Tamario Harold putting his name on the map with 181 yards and 2 scores on just 11 carries. 28-22 final. The Huskers with a surprising win. Antoine Easy making it look easy. Although Harold was the star of the show, he had 4 runs of at least 20 yards. 6 foot, 223 pounds, big physical kid, and it showed in this game. Senior quarterback Jonathan Diaz did not have a particularly great game, although he did run for 2 scores. And then the Beach Boys did not give the Cowboys enough here in the loss. As for some other scores, the Civil War was not so civil. Oregon beats Oregon State by 4 touchdowns. Arizona 3-0, they defeat Baylor. Notre Dame blasts Duke 24-7. Texas Tech back on the win column, they beat BYU. Mississippi State with a scare against Louisiana. East Carolina with a scare against Wyoming. Both of those teams avoid upsets. As for the rest of the ACC, North Carolina beats Virginia. Up and down week for the ACC. It was good to see SMU win. Good to see Boston College almost win. But then you have Stanford losing to Arkansas State, which obviously is not a great look. As for some scores nationally, Rutgers over Navy 24-7. Bowling Green puts up 60 on Eastern Michigan. Louisville over Syracuse. We're going to get to play the Cardinals in the next episode. Akron beats James Madison. I thought James Madison had a chance to run the table. Although I will say Akron is quite good. They're one of the better small school teams in the game this year. So I wouldn't be too worried about the Dukes quite yet. I think Akron's just that solid. USF over Cal. The Bulls, one of the better small school teams. Kansas over UTEP 33-7. A really good start to the year for the Jayhawks. They're 2-0 going into their matchup against Virginia Tech next week. Miami leapfrogs Tennessee and Ohio State at the top of the poll. Alabama drops to 10 with their loss. Clemson back up to number 14 with a win. Pitt falls to 18, while Oklahoma State and LSU are nearly out of the rankings. A lot of teams getting votes, and unfortunately we are not one of them. So we're not quite at that level yet. As for your players of the week, 8 touchdowns for Sonny Wilkin, the true freshman who puts up 73. I was hoping we would get a player of the week, maybe Clyde Pool with his 5 touchdowns, but it does not happen. Kamari Fisher, the Tennessee quarterback, takes the lead on the Heisman watch. Graham Glukowski falls to 2, Maryland falls to 4, and Kieran Riddle now on the list in 5th. We've got another doubleheader upcoming in the next episode. 2-0 Kansas Jayhawks in Lawrence. Clyde Pool returns to the old stomping grounds, and then we'll play against Louisville. The following episode, our bye week, will be the recruiting special. I wanted the recruiting special to be earlier in the year, more like week 4, but I really wanted to time it up with the bye week, and this was the only way I could get Kansas on the road, I could get Alabama on the road, and I could get a fun night game at home. I had to push the bye week and thus the recruiting special back. Nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. Peace out.